Party talk. It is almost, at the time of recording, the end of the transfer window. Martin Patterson himself said that there were no more expected incomings unless it was a major player that would improve the squad. And he's also said there is nobody expected to leave, which we're going to have our say on. So we're going to give you a bit of a squad depth update. You can have a look at what players we've got in the squad, where we think their best positions are, where a few games into the season now, so we kind of know where players are going to be playing and where they're settled in, and where Patterson thinks they should be playing as well. So we got the win yesterday, didn't we, George, against Tranmere? It's a good win.
It was a good win, yeah. A different kind of win to what I think we're used to seeing of previous seasons, but it was a win, hard fought, bit of a smash and grab, but wins a win. You all can't say, don't they?
Before we put up the squad depth, were you disappointed? I know it was before the Tranmere kickoff when he said there wouldn't be any more incomings and outgoings.
Yeah, because I feel like we do need one or two more quality players in the building, and I understand what they're saying about we don't want to make like rash decisions and bring players in for the sake of making up numbers and things like that. But they've had all summer. Do you know what I mean? It's the squad's been the same all summer. So
yeah,
and we've not paid for anybody. So you can't tell me that after selling Bass, there's no available funds to put an offer in for a player that they feel can add quality to the squad. But time will tell. We're turning a bit of a corner now, aren't we? We're 3 unbeaten, 7 points from our last 3 games. So, I mean, as it stands, it's not the worst thing in the world. It's not like we're, really struggling at the moment. We seem to, like I said, turn a bit of a corner. But you do feel like 1 or 2 injuries at the top side of the pitch. We're in big, deep trouble, aren't
we? Yeah. Now, as I just said, at the time of recording, it is Sunday. And if anything changes, there are any signings, unexpected ones that Patterson and the board and the owners seem to, think aren't coming, then let us know in the comments if you're happy with that signing, get a bit of a discussion going. Let us know if you think it's a sign that's needed, or if anyone leaves the building. I mean, there's still talk about a couple of players could go out on loan, with Maynard becoming the York manager, or, and anything could happen in the final days of the window when teams start to panic and they see, players playing well and or they want to plug gaps. So if anything does change, let us know. Right. Let's look at our squad depth then, as we pretty much finish this summer transfer window. Let's have a look. So here we have our full squad minus Madhu Cisse and Riley Reynolds, who are out on loan at lower down the pyramid. Okay, so here's our squad as it stands. So let's start in goal, George. Let's start with our goalkeepers.
Yeah.
How strong's that, or how weak's that?
It's not Bass, is it?
No, it's not.
It's not Bass by any stretch of the imagination. But we've taken a bit of a different approach, I think, with the type of keeper. You could sort of see it. You see it more in games, more of recent games. We're not relying on the keeper as much, I don't think, in terms of passing it back to them and playing out from the back as such. When the keeper does get the ball, Rusey does seem to be going long. So we've sort of lost that, but, we've probably adapted a little bit to that. And that is something Patterson's talked about, sort of playing to strengths instead of forcing players to do things that they're not comfortable with. But there's definitely errors in there, more errors than Bass for sure. Bass was great, but he did still have 1 or 2 errors. But you're going to get that at this level. But I think if you're to compare it to last season, I don't think it's as good. But I think Bass was an exceptional goalkeeper. So there's a season to go yet, but Roos is no replacement for Bass, in my opinion.
No, I thought it was his best performance yesterday, albeit like not loads and loads to do. Did claim a couple of things, punched a few things out, but again, which is a good sign, really. We limited Tranmere to very, very little. Griffiths, it's pretty simple this season. Roos is going to be our number one goalkeeper. I can't see it really changing. And if we do change it because of Roos's performance, put Griffiths in, then you've got a very, very, very inexperienced goalkeeper in a side that, despite where we are now and the start have had, want promotion. And then we've obviously got a complete reserve keeper there in Pero. But goalkeeping situation could have been handled a lot better, in my opinion. In terms of like a squad depth rating, I'd probably give it a 4, I think. A 4 out of 10. I don't know about yourself.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Right, this is a bit tricky. So going on to the defence, you'll see that obviously McDonald is playing central. But primarily he'd like to be on that left-hand side. When you put out the squad depth like this is where it can be a bit, a little bit concerning, because if you do have McDonald in here, then that leaves Bedu on his own. But obviously you know that McDonald will play here if Bedu wasn't fit. But also at the same time, you kind of think Lucas Ness would be over here. And I think we're only an injury or two away, an injury more away, because obviously Ness and Platt, to being in a bad situation with defenders. I mean, the situation with Macari, I just don't think they're going to play him, because you don't know what's going to happen with him. You're not going to integrate a player that could start to have a fantastic season, and all of a sudden he's unavailable.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What about Al Joffrey? I'm still to be fully convinced by him.
I think he looks all right. I think he's got he's shown flashes of quality. And we saw the game out with him yesterday. He definitely has a mistake in there, but I feel like the whole team sort of does. It's just that sort of run League 2 sort of thing. You know what I mean? But I know what you're saying there. That it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because you look at Ness, he seems to be quite injury prone. Platt has an injury at the moment. Macari looks as if he may not be playing at all. So on that basis, it sort of at the moment only leaves us with 3 defenders, doesn't it? In saying that, you know, they weren't going to be. Platt will be back soon enough. I think it's a longish term injury, isn't it? But you also don't want it. I don't think you want to be bringing in like another starting defender, because I think that then gives you problems. It's a difficult one. It's difficult. I think Ness has the quality to step in. It's just getting him fit and ready to play, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, my starting three with everyone fit is Ness on the right, Platt in the centre, and Bedu on the left. But McDonald's been good. I think he's been good when he's come in. He was good yesterday. You know, didn't put much wrong. And when Platt's not here, you're relying on him and Bedu massively ahead of Joffrey to win headers and get things out. Yeah, I agree. Ness, I think, is a really good player. I saw someone say that they don't think he's ever had a good game. I think almost every game Ness has played, albeit very few, has been good. I think he's been good. And Bedu is Bedu. I thought it was maybe his best game yesterday of the season. But in terms of building, we'll do the wing backs and the centre backs differently. In terms of that and what we've built over the summer, what rating are you going to give that?
We've only really had, there's one addition there, isn't there? So
yeah,
I think in terms of like, if I had to rate the sort of defenders that we have, I'd probably give it a 7.
Yeah, I'd agree. I did think at one point in the window we may lose Platt or Bedu, just purely because that seems to be the way it was going, didn't it? Yeah, I'd agree. I'd agree a 7. I also agree that, you know, to make it an 8, a 9, or a 10, you'd want to add someone. But I also agree, I don't know if I would add anyone, because all of a sudden Macari could be available to play this season and Ness could not get injured again. And then you've got 7 centre-backs. The only thing is, in the National League season, for example, we had Badrami that would drop in at centre-back. There's no one in that squad in front of them that I think you could comfortably put in at centre-back at all. Even the fullback, the wing-backs wouldn't slot in at centre-back, I don't think. Maybe because of his aerial ability, Barry Cotter on the right. But for me, no one else. No one else. Right, speaking of Cotter, let's go over to this right-hand side. Winning goal for Gordon yesterday. I said it in the vlog. He's got way better this season. So I think that right-hand side is decent. I don't think Patterson knows who he wants to start at right wing back though, because he keeps chopping and changing at half time. Another change yesterday at half time, bringing Cotter off for Gordon. What are your thoughts about that right hand side?
Yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it? Because obviously he's on loan, and I think Patterson's worked with Cotter before, hasn't he? So I think they probably have a bit of they probably have quite a good sort of rapport and relationship. But Gordon's come back in this season and he's a completely different player to what we saw sort of last season. Seems to just be running with a bit more purpose and playing with a bit more purpose. And he took the goal really, really well yesterday. You know, it's you can't underestimate how difficult to score that goal is, because he has two defenders running across the face of goal, and he sort of showed the confidence just to just take it and slot it in. And like I say, I think from the two at the moment is the better option. I think Cotter shows flashes of absolute brilliance, and you think, geez, this guy's some player. But then he'll have like a 10-15 minute spell where he's just not, and he's sort of, I don't know, just loses the sort of simple things like, straightforward passes and things like that. And he just seems to lack that ability for short periods in the game. And I think that can cost a lot of points in the position that he is. So I think it's a decent enough signing. Like, I think it's okay. It's very low risk, isn't it? I think, if I'm right as well, I think it's his last year of his contract. So it's one of those where if it does work out and he ends up being, playing really well, you could see him maybe getting a permanent deal at Notts at the end of the season. But obviously that's sort of the long-term vision, I think. Yeah. So in that respect, you can see where they're coming from, and I can see why they've done it.
Yeah. Gordon starts for me at the minute, but I just do think, looking across the league, that there's teams with a lot more quality in that position compared to us. If we're going over to this side, Bennett's and Cerula. Bennett's, when he played against Cardiff, I was like, we need to sign him now, before he even steps foot out of Meadow Lane. We have to sign him because someone else will get him. I've not seen it since, but he's not played that much football, has he? For Notts so far. Cerula will be our starting wing back for the whole season, I think. I can't see Bennett taking him out of that position. I think you'll see Bennett getting a run out against Lincoln on Tuesday. And then I can just see it being off the bench, really, in games. Or I don't think Patterson is. I think he's happy to just swap wing backs at half time, if he thinks it's going to help us. So I think that left hand side actually is pretty good. I don't know too much about Bennett's in terms of seeing him play with my own eyes that much, but I know Cerula's a good player, and I think he is League Two quality, definitely like a top end League Two player. The last 2 games, we just haven't seemed to use the left hand side that much, I don't think, in terms of like build up play. But I'm pretty happy with that side. I can't say I favour one side over the other necessarily in terms of like quality. In terms of our wing backs, I do think we're sat at maybe a 6.5 out of 10 for what we've got overall.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think that's fair.
Yeah, no, I can't. I think there's definitely better out there and better strength in depth. Okay, now you can see the further up the pitch we go, it starts to get very, very congested, and you can see there are players in there that I think should have been offloaded. Might be offloaded by the time we've put this video up, and maybe offloaded by the end of the window in general. So if they are, that's fine. We'll just remove them from this. But there's some decent players in there as well. So if we look at our midfield, our midfield six kind of here, you've got Robertson, Palmer, Hinchy, Iopenda, Norburn, and Edwards. Straight off the bat, George, who do you think will not get a look in those six?
I think Edwards probably won't. Well, I think he definitely won't unless there's a serious injury crisis. And I think Hinchy will struggle to get any game time as well. I think that's probably where you can see the squad whittled down a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. I think they should be looking to go out on loan. I know Patson said no one's really going anywhere, but they should definitely be sent out on loan, in my opinion. Robertson is when he's back. I think I would have had him as a starter last season, and I've always had him down as a starter when he's completely fit. But you can't displace Palmer and Norburn at the minute, can you?
No.
They're working well. They're working well together. And I know Openda played in the attacking position, but I think he's only there whilst like Luke is injured, isn't he? And we only had the option of Dennis. I know Jack came on yesterday. We've only had the option of Dennis as the starting striker. So out of those 6, well, 4, because we've spoken about Edwards and Hinchy, which of those is your favourite in midfield?
It's hard, that, isn't it? Very, very hard. I'd be interested to know what yours is, but Openda's, I think he's been quality since he's come in. Obviously, recent memory, I can keep referring to yesterday's game, but he's probably at fault really for them conceding as he loses possession. It's probably unfortunate. I think Norburn, he brings that sort of leadership role that we've missed, and we really lack at Notts, really, to be honest, on the pitch. But I've got to go for Palmer. He's the captain. I think he's been brilliant. I think he gets a lot of unfair flack online. He's quality. That's just the position he plays. He sort of does the ugly stuff, doesn't he? He's not going to be getting assists. He's not going to be getting goals. He's recycling the ball. He's regaining possession. He's just his pass completion. And I just know it's going to be quality most games. So you're not to expect for him. So I'm going to say Palmer.
Yeah, I agree. And in terms of a rating of the midfield we've built this season, I mean, we've added Norburn and Openda to that, central midfielders. I think it's hard to rate because I've got 2 players there that aren't going to get a look in. One's injured, and I don't know. I think I'll probably give it. See, Openda's good. Palmer's really he's doing well, isn't he? Norburn's stepping up. It's a really hard rating. 7.5.
I'd go 7.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. 7. Right, we then look at our attacking midfielders. We'll go left and right. We'll left to right as we can see it. So Kuyar, Jones, and Hall this side. Jones, I'm just going to stick with what I've said so far on the channel. We're not going to see Jones in a wing-back position this season, I don't think that there's any need to. I think, we've got 4 wing-backs there that are decent. They've got pace. All of them pretty much got pace as well. Cerullo a little bit less so. So I think Jones is going to stick there. I don't think he was at the races yesterday, but he's still learning. But I still think he was decent. Like not the Jones we know, and his standards are high, but he was decent. Hall we haven't seen anything of, and I'm surprised we haven't seen anything of him because there's no way Spurs sent him to us to play this few minutes. When Abbott came, Abbott was almost instantly starting every game. And Kuyar, I like the look of what I've seen, but I think he's another Edwards, where we're going to get to the end of the season and be like, why did we bring him in?
I think that's ultimately a shame, though. Like from what we have seen of him, which is very, very little, I think he looks good. He looks like a good player that's going to drive and make things happen and create chances. So the pool of talent in his sort of position that he will be playing is quite good, I think, at Notts. That's the problem. But I like the look. I liked the look of Kuyar when I've seen him.
Yeah. Do you like the Jones in the 10 or not?
I think it's going to click, and then when it does,
I do.
It's going to be frightening.
I do. And if we look over to the other side, we've included Jarvis in here because I don't think if he does come back into the fold, he's going to be a wing back. He was played at Alfreton, albeit the first half of the first pre-season friendly, in that position with Jones, the other side, if I remember correctly. Luke is injured. Unless I've missed it, I don't know how long for. Grant's looked good every time I've seen him play this season, I think.
Yeah, he has.
But with this Jarvis situation, we've spoken about it on Thursday's podcast, haven't we? But what's going on there? Like, he could definitely offer something, couldn't he? He could definitely help this squad.
I think so. I think he looks a great player. Last season, if we sort of needed something off the bench, he looked to be that player. Really weird. And again, I've said this a few times now. We paid a fee for him, and he's just not in the fold at all, is he? It's just odd.
Yeah, I know what's going to happen. I know what's going to happen if we don't use him. He'll go somewhere else and be really good.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you think about the people that are saying, well, if he's not prepared to work, then we don't want him in the squad?
Well, yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean, if that is the case, we don't know, do we? We don't really know if that is the case. But I mean, if a player's not willing to commit 100%, then they shouldn't be in the squad.
I like our attacking options, and I like that we're playing 2 10s at the minute. I don't mind Jones in there. I think Grant's been good. Luca looked good when he played. Hall has a lot of promise and should be good. And we've also, there could even have been an argument to have Pender down here as well in that position. But we've put in there because that's where he started this season. But I'm going to say for our 10s and what we've done, it's hard to say because you've got Luca and Hall that are just purely potential at the minute, aren't they? But they're not our player. I'm going to be very cautious with this, and I'm going to give it a 6.5. But I think by the end of the season, we could look back at this video and be like, we built like an 8.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. I agree with what you're saying because there is a lot of promise there, and I think it will come into fruition. I think it'll be so competitive for a position on the pitch in the starting lineup that they're just going to push each other, and we're going to have some real quality sort of in that position. Without a doubt, I think it's got the most potential out of any other place on the pitch.
Yeah, and also we could easily be saying that only one player gets a position because we could switch to 2 up front at any point.
Yeah.
So, you could be looking at that. Also, Kuyar, I mean, we've seen Flash him at wing back. We've seen Jarvis at wing back in the last few seasons. So some of these players, we've just had to pick a position to put them in. And that brings us to our attackers. One's dropped off the face of the earth.
Yeah.
One's become the best striker in English football, and was kind enough to miss a chance to allow Gordon to score yesterday. And one's come back after a 6-game ban and looked every bit like he wanted to be at Notts, and put in a really, really good performance for someone that's not seen any competitive football for like 3 months.
Yeah.
If Traore, like we obviously think when we signed him, he's got potential and ability, right? They must have done because they paid a big fee. If he lived up to that, you've got 3 very good attackers.
Exactly.
But the problem is we have no clue what Traore can actually do.
Yeah.
Which is it's a problem. But I'm gonna just ask you to talk about Dennis, because
Dennis is the best signing ever made in the history of football. No, I'm joking. Dennis he looks so good. He looks so good. Just it's not just like his instinctual goal yesterday, so it's just like a tap in. The goal against Bromley where Roos will probably get the assist, but the amount of work that Dennis had to do to make that goal, he's got it all. He's got the strength, he's got the footwork, he's got the vision. I think he's got so much promise. And you've got to remember that Patterson was a striker, so on a good level as well for the majority of his career. So he knows what it takes as a striker. So I think he's like in a really good position to improve because he's working under Patterson. So yeah, I think we could see some crazy numbers. I don't know if anyone watched his post match from the game yesterday against Tranmere, but he was asked if he sets himself targets, and Dennis said, "Yeah, I've got really high targets for the season," but he didn't actually say what they were. So I'd love to know what they were. In fact, I'd love to know what people think that they were.
What the goal number he set himself?
Yeah. What the goal he set himself was, because what's he on now? Is it 4 or 5?
No, it's 5. I think it's 5.
Yeah, if he's on 5. Look, if you do the maths, he'll be. If he does that for the rest of the season in as many games, he'll have 75 goals.
Yeah, he's on 5 and 6. And if you take out the first 2 league games, he's on 5 and 4. So I mean, that's, like you say, that's 90 goals for the season.
Yeah.
If you average it out, because he's not a 90-minute striker, it's like 100 if he played all 90 minutes.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
no, but for me, his signing bumps up that the score that we're about to give massively. I think keeping Jata could have been some good work as well, because it's all good and well selling these players for good money, but if you can't bring anyone in that's like sort of similar quality, then it's no good, is it? As we've seen in the goalkeeping department. But I think we've had a decent enough. I think it'd be good to add another striker in there. But Traore is the sort of unknown, and coming back from injury could potentially be that player to fill in that void. Yeah. But if we get an injury there, we're in big trouble.
Yeah, I also said in the vlog yesterday, like Jata, I said I think we should sell him if the offer is right. And I stand by that for pretty much every player. And the money being offered was crazy. But if the money is not there, you don't sell a player like Jata. Like, we're not saying sell him for 50,000, 100,000 because he hasn't scored. But if money was there, you have to take those for those players. And with the noise that was around, him from certain people online, you're thinking, okay, this could become problematic. But the way he came back in yesterday was really, really good, really encouraging. The back heel was class. And the back heel was like time perfection, set us through. If that back heel was, too weak, they intercept. If it's too strong, it goes past Dennis. It's literally into his stride. And it's crazy because those haven't played any minutes together. And all of a sudden they've got that link up. Like, it could be a real problem. And I see what Patterson meant by, if we played Bromley, and when we played Bromley, he wanted 2 strikers to push up. We might have come out of that game with a win and even maybe scored a 3rd goal.
Yeah.
Rating: if Traore catches fire and plays and does what his fee suggests from the owners, that's probably a 9. But it's not.
No, it's not. I agree. I think there's part of me that wants to say 6 here, but I'm going to go for 7. The reason I think 6 is it hinges a lot on Traore, like you say, coming in and hitting the ground running after being injured, and I think we should have bought another striker in. I really do. So Dennis bumps it up to a 7 because of his quality so far this season and what I think he can achieve, and obviously holding on to Jata. So yeah, I'm going to go 7.
If you look at it and really just take out the Knots perspective, and you look at it from an outside perspective, you've got a striker in Jata who scored 19 league goals and got 4 assists last season, and you've got Dennis who, across Carlisle and us, in 20 games has got 11 goals and 2 assists. Yeah. You're like, oh, that's serious. But I agree with you. We could look back at this end of the season and be like, that is a 9. But Traore is so unknown. We wanted another striker in. Dennis has been class, but and I think he will be class all season, but right now it's a small sample size. We don't actually know if by tomorrow we're going to still have Jata, because let's be honest, anything can happen. And I look at teams. You look at Plymouth, right? Plymouth have had a horrendous start, and they were the side in for him. Now they lost Ryan Hardy to Wrexham, and their fans are screaming for a striker in. Last day of the window, panic buy. It's not. I don't think it's going to happen, but it's not like out of the question that they could come back in and get him. Who knows? If that happens, our attacking window, despite how good Dennis has been, drops to like a 3, because we're absolutely stuffed up front in terms of personnel. You've got 1 striker because the other's out of favour. So I'm going to be cautious. I'm going to go 6.5. But that's a cautious on as well. And if we're looking at the squad now, and this is our squad depth, and you're probably looking and saying, why are you putting all these players? If you're really looking at the squad now, it's more like this at this exact moment, isn't it? You know, which becomes a little bit less to pick from. You know, all of a sudden, you've got Luca currently injured, you've got Platt currently injured, you've got Ness currently injured. You know, you've got Robertson currently injured. And all of a sudden, that's what we've got to work with right now. So, based on what you've got to work with right now, George, and what you've seen in the last 3 games, what do you make to our start of the season?
With the squad, or as in general?
Just in general, and then we'll give a score of the whole window and what we give our squad depth after the window.
It's been mediocre, hasn't it?
Yeah,
it's been very mediocre. Is the best way to put it, I think.
Yeah, but we're joint top scorers in the EFL. There are definitely signs. There's signs of life there, isn't there?
Yeah.
You know, if we win against Fleetwood, you've got 3 wins in 4 and unbeaten in 4, and all of a sudden we're probably in a playoff place. So let's judge him after 10 games.
Yeah,
because that's what he said.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
And overall, what would you give our whole transfer window and squad depth?
I know we've just sort of rated a lot of them
6.5,
6 and 7s and things like that. But we're talking about in quality in that position. If I had to rate the window, I'd rate it a 4.
Would you?
Yeah, because I think we're too heavily reliant on loans. It could crash and burn if the clubs sort of start recalling players and things like that. So we are very heavily reliant on loans, which I'm not a big fan of. I get there's a place for it, definitely a place for it, but only 1 or 2 maybe. Look at George Abbott last season; he was amazing for us, and we loved him. And you do sort of get that with loan players, but I don't think you can have too many. And I think we are on the cusp. I think we do have too many, really. You think if Hall and Luca and Cotter, they all sort of hit form and they're sort of mainstays in the team. That's half the starting 11 nearly. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Also, we both rated this department here in goal a 4.
Yeah.
We know as well as anyone how important that department is to your whole team.
Yeah.
Well,
look, if we're gonna be honest, yeah, and I don't want to sort of make unnecessary negativity, but that department has cost us points this season already
in nearly every game.
Well, yeah,
I'd say so.
Yeah,
or it's put us under unnecessary pressure.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you could even do this, really, couldn't you? You could even say you don't know how much of a look Kuyar is going to get, and they're your players to pick from. Anyone suddenly goes out on the last sort of day of the window, and we're in a bit of trouble, aren't we? But that's it. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you think of the squad depth. I'm going to rate this. I'm going to give us a 6.5, I think, overall. But then, I know exactly what you're saying. By tomorrow, you could be saying it's a lot worse. A couple of loans ago back, you could be rewatching this video in January and being like, how did Tom give it a 6.5? It's more like a 3.
Yeah.
Or you could be like, wow, Cotter's caught fire. Kuyar's played 3 or 4 games consistently, got a few assists. How good's Al Joffrey been? Roos has picked it up. We could be saying it was an 8.
Yeah.
So it's very early, but that's our squad depth. That's what it looks like so far. Let us know, as it said at the bottom of the video, let us know what you're happy with. Let us know where you think we have issues. Give us your ratings, either for the whole squad or individually for each department. Let us know your best signing of the window, and let us know which current player that we had last season has impressed you the most. So for me, my best signing of the window has been Dennis. Our current player from last season that's impressed me the most has probably been Matty Palmer. So I'd probably go with that.
I agree.
In terms of those, yeah. Obviously Nick Cerula, but I'm not allowed to mention him anymore on the channel because George said I'm not allowed to say it anymore. But there we go. If you have enjoyed the video, a different style of video, please do leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new. And yeah, we go and play against Lincoln in the week, and then Fleetwood, where we are hoping we can get that 4th game in a row without losing.